The 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by
Live with SunBet.
SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, and Kawasaki, South Africa. Welcome to Kyalami for round 7 and 8 of the 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, a double header which forms part of the Festival of Motoring. By now, all the riders had plenty of track time and were very familiar with the Kyalami racetrack. Now though, it was time to put what they have learned from round 7, qualifying race 1 and race 2 into action. So who would grab pole as the spectators flooded in their thousands? Trevor Westman on the number 60 bike had a solid round 7. Could he perhaps mount a challenge? Perhaps even Mark Newland, who would take it to Clinton Seller? Would Clinton Seller be able to take his 7th pole position of 2024 so far? Could Graham from Bidar perhaps throw his Stefanuti stocks ZX10R into the mix? Only time would tell. It is that time now where the riders get to fit those brand spanking new Bridgestone R11 tyres, as it is almost time for the final qualifying of this double header weekend at Kyalami. The pit lane, as always in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, is frantic. Everyone chipping in, everyone lending a helping hand in this close-knit family-type group. Calm before the storm, as they say, as the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup Kawasaki ZX10R Cup bikes laid in pit lane, ready to pounce, ready to get out there and scream. But before then, time to warm the engines up. Warm yourselves up, grab that last little bit of nutrition, have yourself an ice-cold Red Square reload. Pressure? What pressure? Who would take pole position? Clinton Seller with match point. This would be the weekend he could possibly wrap up the 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup Championship. Would the pressure get to Clinton Seller? Would he buckle under the pressure? Or would he stand firm and take his 11th South African Championship? Hooter on a race bike? If you ever needed proof that these Kawasaki ZX10R bikes were near stock, there's your proof. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, equipped with hooters as standard, as were most of these bikes still, so the riders could hoot when behind their competitors. So 30 riders out on track, battling it out for pole position once again. A nice mixture of Masters riders, Grandmasters riders, and veteran riders, as always in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. The riders are categorized according to their ages. However, they are all put on the same track at the same time to battle it out. Even in qualifying, the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup riders put on a show for the thousands of spectators here at the Festival of Motoring at Kyalami. Toe to toe, wheel to wheel, elbows out, there was action aplenty throughout the whole field. Peter de Vos getting shadowed by Dieter Huisman and Renatus van der Kerk with Aubrey Marais right behind them. Real estate, as they say, is a premium, especially here around Kyalami with over 30 ZX10R bikes out on track. You would need that clear air to put in your hot lap. Clinton Seller trailing behind David Enticott, looking at getting past and looking at getting that clear lap in. Keith Agliotti with Martin Perry in tow. And as we have a newcomer as well to the year, and that is, of course, Lionel Black. Lionel had a great outing in round 7, so he'll be looking at building on that for round 8. Let's take another lap on board with the informed man, Tyron Piper. Great to see form return and speed return to the number 45. Heading through the kink, down the main straight, 5th gear, 6th gear, flat out at around 250 kilometers an hour. Heading into turn 2, which is Crowthorne, out into turn 3 and 4 through the Yuxkay sweep, heading into Barbecue. Now Barbecue is a 2nd gear corner, a 2nd gear top left-hander. You want to get on the gas, use all the track on the outside, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. Some riders changing into fifth, some holding fifth as they head into sunset. One of the faster corners out here at Kyalami. A long sweeping right-hander. Important to get that drive out. Heading into a tight left-hand corner, which is, of course, Clubhouse. A bit of a reference in front here from Stephen Golgotzi. This might give Tyron the optimum lap time, or it could be holding him back very slightly. Very difficult to pass here at Kyalami as well, especially with the lap times being quite close. Heading out of the SS up through to Leeuwkop, one of the trickiest corners out at Kyalami. It is a blind entry and generally taken in second or third gear, and you're going to get that drive out. A lot of wheel spin heading out as you come down to the mine shaft, through the mine shaft sweep, which is turn 12. This is taking it over 200 k's an hour, generally in fourth gear. You're going to bang it down 2 gears again around the outside there from Darren Piper, heading into the Crocodiles. A very brave move, unfortunately not pulling that off. Now you're heading through turn 14 and 15. This is Cheetah, a very tricky corner with a raised curve on the inside. You've got to make sure you don't hit that curve. It could unsettle you and throw you into the wall on the left-hand side. Into the final corner, turn 16, which is Ingwe, onto the main straight. Second gear, third gear, all the way up to the gearbox. And that is a lap on board with Tyron Piper. Round 8 combined qualifying in 30th place on a 2:05 lap time. The number 64 of Martin Parry, while in 29th at 2:04.031. That's a much better time from Stewie Christie, a much quicker time than he posted for round 7 combined qualifying. While just ahead of him on the grid in 28th place on a 2:03.138, the number 30 of Daryl Barrington, getting to grips, getting a little bit more comfy on his ZX10R race bike. In 27th, number 33, Raymond Keel on a 2:02 lap time. That's a much better performance from Raymond, one of our vastly experienced veteran riders out on the grid. In front of him in 26 on a 1:59.975, Stephen Golgotzi. Remember, Stephen is carrying that foot injury, so a bit of a disappointing qualifying there compared to round 7 for Stephen. In 25th, Ian Harwood on a 58.903. That's a great lap time from the experienced TRP man, the number 24 Kawasaki ZX10R. While just ahead of Raymond, newcomer Lionel Black on a 58.583. That's a great lap time from Lionel. We're hoping to see Lionel at the next or the last rounds coming up in 2024. Expect Lionel to only get quicker from here. In 23rd on a 158.118, the number 48 of Aubrey Marais. Slightly disappointing from Aubrey. He would want to be a lot higher up. But remember, much like Stephen, he is carrying an injury, so that is difficult to manage around the Kyalami International Grand Prix circuit. On board, a 200 horsepower fire-breathing Kawasaki ZX10R bike. In 22nd, Lubas, a great performance from the number 53 bike, although slightly disappointing compared to how he qualified in round 7. He would definitely be looking for a lot more, spinning that rear wheel up, coming out through Leeuwkop and down through the mine shaft, styling as always. In 21st, his teammate Sifiso Temba on the number 63. That's a much better showing, a much better lap time from the number 63. Sifiso Temba on his new ZX10R bike. A 156.873 sees Renatus van der Kijk on the number 57 hit his Kawasaki on 20th on the grid. So a great performance from Renatus. He'll be looking at getting in those top 15 positions. 19th place for Peron Peresaman on a 155 lap time, starting to find form, starting to gel and click with the Kawasaki SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup bike. He'll be definitely looking at throwing his number 10 into the mix. 18 for Jaya Cruz on a 155.829. The vastly experienced veteran rider, he'll be looking at throwing his bike into overall podium contention in the veteran class. While the informed man in 17th place, Tyron Piper, setting a great lap time. It's great to see Tyron back to his best, back to where we know he should be. He will definitely be a contender for top 15 places come the races. While in 16th on a 54.799, the number 70 of Dieter Huisman, he would be looking at throwing his bike into the mix in the Grand Masters category. looking for a little bit more is Dita, and I'm sure he will find it come race 1 and race 2. In 15th place on a 154.635, Byron Rothquell on the number 37. Byron is normally accustomed to being in the top 10 position, so he'll be looking for a little bit more come race day. P14 for the experienced veteran rider Johan Leroux. He's a definition of not aging. Age is just a number to the number 44 man, who just seems to get quicker and quicker every time he swings his leg over that ZX10R. 13th place on a 153.149 for Keith Agliotti, a brilliant lap time for the number 31. He'd be looking at throwing his bike into overall top 10 positions. 12 for Christian Carvello on a 153.321, a cracking lap time by the number 88. He would also be looking at contending in the Masters category. While 11th for Peter de Vos on a 153.167, the extremely experienced veteran rider. It's great to see Peter de Vos out, who has now joined us for 3 rounds so far in 2024. He'd be looking at throwing his number 17 into the overall victory contention in class. AD van Dalen on the number 469, a great lap time from AD van Dalen. Top 10 placings in qualifying for the number 469, the ever stylish 469, despite a few setbacks, let's say, despite running off and almost dropping it while trying to get back on track. While no such problems for the man in 9th place on a 153.008, the number 117 of David Feringa, the juggernaut. In 8th place, another issue there. James Barson, what is it with Leocorp? The number 15 man running off. Luckily, 8th place in qualifying, a little setback, but he'll definitely be back stronger. The number 15 getting back out on track. A great lap time from James Barson as he looks to contest podium placings in the Grand Masters category. 7th for Mark Newland on a 152.344, a great lap time by the number 2. He'd be looking at throwing his Kawasaki ZX10R into the top 5 overall placings. 6th place on a 151.359 for the number 78 of David Enticott. He would definitely be a contender, if not for podium positions, for overall top 5 placings. While on a 151.093 in 5th place, Han McMahon on the number 4, making all sorts of passes out on track, all sorts of shapes, as he looks to get his championship back on track. While in 4th place, Graham from Midor on a 150.741, the defending champion. He'll be losing his crown at the end of 2024, unfortunately, but he can still put on a great show and place well at the end of 2024. A 149 lap time, that's much more like it from the number 60, the killer, Trevor Westman. He was on form for yet another overall podium. But could he challenge Clinton Siller and Damien Perfecati up front? A 149.094 for Damien Perfecati, the number 821. He would be looking at mounting a challenge to Clinton Siller up front. A much better lap time from the experienced Masters rider, despite 2 slight setbacks. One crash on his number 1 bike, and then crashing yet again on his spare bike in exactly the same place. Nevertheless, his mechanics got that bike sorted. Ready to challenge Clinton Siller out front, setting yet another 147 lap time. Can anyone stop the number 11 King Pass Extreme bike of Clinton Siller? Or would he go on to claim his 11th South African title? Overall combined qualifying standings in Clinton Siller on pole, ahead of Damien Perfecati and Trevor Westman in 3rd, Graham from Midor in 4th, Han McMahon in 5th, David Enticott a grade 6 ahead of Mark Newland in 7th, James Barson in 8th, David Feringa in 9th, and AD van Dalen in 10th. Peter Vos 11th place ahead of Christian Carvello, Keith Agliotti, Johan Leroux in 14th, Byron Rothquell in 15th, Dieter Huisman in 16th, and Tyrant Piper in 17th. 18th place for Jairo Cruz ahead of Peron Peresaman in 19th, 20th, Renatus van der Kerk ahead of Sifiso Temba and Lubas in 22nd, Aubrey Murray 23rd ahead of Lionel Black and Ian Harwood in 25th, Stephen Golgotzi in 26th, Raymond Kill 27th, Daryl Barrington 28th, Stewie Christie 29th, and Martin Perry rounding out the grid in 30th. The 2024 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by
Come alive with SunBet.
SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tire of choice, and Kawasaki, South Africa.